the Middle East, when people are speaking about the eastern part of the Mediterranean, we have to remember that this area was not defined. There is no any real definition what really we mean about it. I just finished the biography of the Israeli, and when you read this book, it's clear that when you speak about the Eastern problem, is not this part of the Middle East. It's the Bosphorus, the Dardanelles, and the who will control Constantinople of those days. So it's moving target. Where is the real area which we can define at the Eastern Mediterranean? When we speak about it today in Israel, we understand that includes Israel, of course, Greece, Cyprus, and many Israelis will be more than happy to see Italy and Egypt inside this group. So when we speak about this area, we have to define what does it apply to and where we want to see it in the future. It is, by the way, the interest of Israel, looking at the problem from the Israeli point of view, that both Egypt and Italy will be a part of it. And at the end of the day, what we want to see is an area which in one side is broken Libya, on the other side is Lebanon and disintegrating Syria. And the area in between, our dream will cooperate on some areas because we are sharing some elements which will allow us to do it in the present days as it was in the history in the past. We can look at it from 4 different points of view. First is defensive and containment. The whole Middle East is out of balance. I'm very mild in my description. Countries are disintegrating. I mentioned Syria, but it's true about Libya. It's true about Iraq. It might happen tomorrow morning in Lebanon, and no one will be surprised. Communities are in totally collapsed situation, even in states which are more stable than those countries that I just mentioned. This group of countries have big interest in containing this situation out of our area, and how they cope together with this chaos which is all around us. This is one point of view. A containment group which will try to contain this chaos from emerging, from moving from those areas to these 4 or 5 countries areas. The second interest is energy. We are around the basin in the Mediterranean, in which there is a lot of gas, maybe oil in the future will be found. And if we cooperate, it will be for the benefit of all of us, because this cooperation will save a lot of money, will bring security to the area, eliminate threats from the outside, and altogether such cooperation has a very strong economic logic. And if you really build common grids, as just mentioned, and cooperation in securing the area which we are sharing, because the lines between Egypt, Cyprus, Israel, and are very blurred. I mean, it's the same water. There is no any line in the water. That will be very much helpful. When we thought about how to organize our defensive system in the EEZ, the question was, okay, what will be the level of cooperation with Egypt and with Cyprus was on the table. We decided to build our own system. But at the end of the day, these systems will be shared by all the countries around the basin. It will be much, much easier. And this is only one area in which we can cooperate. Of course, if we have pipelines which are going from Israeli side to Cyprus, from Cyprus to Egypt and back forth, that will make all the economic calculations much easier. Third is how we stand against elements which want to destabilize the area, which are very active. Either it is Iran, and in some eyes it might be Turkey in some circumstances, or Muslim Brotherhood in some countries which are around the Middle East, or other elements which will try to destabilize the area. And cooperation between those countries will help each other to stand fast against any destabilization. And last but not least, we are sharing geography and culture for many, many years in the history. And we are speaking here about all cultures, either it is Greece, or Israel, or Egypt, or Italy, and we are sharing culture elements which will together will allow us to cooperate, because in the past that was the basis for the whole Western civilization. And if we build this cooperation not just on the present interest of energy and containment and security, but also bring in the old cooperation of civilizations, which was very strong in this part of the Mediterranean, I think that will make the whole coalition much stronger against any winds which might come in the future. All these elements are very strong in all the members of the potential coalition. It is true about Israel, it's true about Greece, Cyprus, and as well as Egypt and Italy. And there are differences between the countries, but at the end of the day, all these four elements can be shared by all the members. For Israel, from the Israeli point of view, there is another element which is very strong, and it was mentioned here. This is another bridge between Israel and the European Union, which for us is very important part of the international community. And if we succeed to build another bridge through Cyprus and Greece into the European Union, that will be a very strong element in our future foreign relations, and it's true that this is a very Israeli point of view, but it is very important for us. Everything which was said is when the background, the whole Middle East, as I said, is disintegrating. And after 5 years of Arab Spring, we can see the results. And we can understand that this is not going to be stopped or stabilized again in the next, I don't know, generation or two. It is something that we will have to live with for many years ahead. The fact that countries are disintegrating and people are going back to the old elements of the society, to the tribe, the family, the sect, the religion, is something which changed the Middle East. And you cannot bring back the omelette and to make an egg. I mean, those who believe that by sitting in Geneva and making agreements that will make peace in this part of the world are naive in a way. Because we are speaking here about old wars, which part of it between Sunnis and Shiites are from the 13th century. Sorry, from the 7th century, 1300 years, and part of it between political Islam and modernity is 100 years old. And it is not going to fade away because very important gentlemen are sitting in Geneva and making agreements, or anywhere else in Europe. And we're doomed to live in an area in which we will have to fight with ISIS, with Al-Qaeda elements, with Muslim Brotherhood elements, and to fill the war between Sunnis and Shiites for the next, I don't know how many years. We know that Iran is coming back to the scene, much stronger after the agreement with the P5+1, with kind of a stamp by the Americans, yes, Iran is a regional superpower, and Iran will behave like this. a regional superpower. What does it mean? What we will see is a question, but we understand that Iran is going to be aggressive in this area. All these elements are the underlying the concerns of many Sunni countries in the areas, and each of them is a potential for being a member of new alliance if we will be smart enough to bring in not just Cyprus, Italy, and Greece, but also the Egyptians and maybe other countries around the Mediterranean, even if they are not sitting on the Mediterranean. The fact that the United States of America is moving away from the region is another reason to make here in the region alliances which will make each country member of this alliance stronger and with better position to deal with the threats that in the past many of those countries relied on the United States efforts which will not be here to save those countries in the future. The fact that Europe is less and less ready to invest in this area, and they don't have the capacities to invest in these areas. I'm from the military and international point of view, not from the economic point of view. The fact that Europe does not have these capabilities and is not ready to invest military forces is also another reason why countries around the basin of the Mediterranean should cooperate, because if they will not cooperate, no one will come from outside the area to save these countries. Okay. I think that there are three good points that we can say about the present situation. First, energy price is down, and it is important for countries which are importing energy. It's a problem for those who are exporting energy. Maybe it's not the best time to enter with new gas capacity into the market, but if those countries will cooperate and that gas will go to Europe, the need for gas in Europe is still very, very strong. And this is, I think, a very important element, because only cooperation will allow to enter to the European market, and this is essential for countries like Egypt and Israel, who wants to export part of their gas. Now I have to sum up. I am one remark which is very important. I think it's very important that this alliance will make clear that it is not against anyone. Countries like Turkey and Russia might think that this is an alliance which is built on any animosity with them, or it is against them at the end of the day. It will be very easy to convince the Russians that it is not the case. It will be more complicated to convince the Turks that it is not the case, but I think it's the interest of all the members of this potential alliance to make clear to both Russia and Turkey that this is not against them. It is to secure the interest of the members of the alliance, and maybe people might dream about Turkey entering to such alliance in the future. Also, I agree that this today situation, it is a dream, but maybe might be in the future. It is, to sum up, it's very hard to be optimistic about the situation in the Middle East in the next few years. We are in transition period, and we have to understand that this is a transition that will take time. This fight between modernity and fundamentalism is there for years. Between Shiites and Sunnis is not going to evaporate because agreements. And this is why it is so important that countries which look for stabilization and have so much elements to share in their interest and in their cultural background, will work together for the benefit of all the members of such coalition. And maybe in the future, after it will be clear that economically it's a very successful move, other countries which might look at it as a organization against their own interest will come in, and that will make all the relations even stronger, and the bridge between this part of the Mediterranean and Europe will be a very important element in the international community as well. Thank you very much.